Hello and welcome back to the 90s Mad Podcast, your Newcastle United podcast, hosted by three lifelong Newcastle United friends, myself, AC and Jefferson. You guys good? Welcome back.
What's happening?
Yes, man. Feels good to be back.
Yeah, man. Feels like a while since you last recorded, man. This boring international break finally over. You guys watching any football? Any of
I saw
England?
the highlights from Finland. I saw the goals.
Yeah, I didn't see any of the games really. I don't know what's going on with international breaks at the moment. It's almost just like
it's a waste of time. Yeah,
I'm not really that interested, but I will say I might get a little bit more interested now, knowing that we got a new manager, haven't we?
Yeah. We can touch on that towards the end of the show, the pod, because it's very interesting times. It's not Eddie Howe, so we can. Before we start, don't forget comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Keep the numbers coming and that. Jefferson, I've had a couple people watch the pod, right? And they said, that Jefferson, why is he so hard on Eddie Howe? Why is he so Eddie Howe out? He's like, he really don't like him, does he? And I was like, boy.
They don't even know.
Yeah, half of it.
I'm a villain.
But yeah, it's all good. But yeah, listen, we're here to preview the upcoming game against Brighton Hove Albion, Saturday at 3:00. Should be a good one. Positive? Are you feeling positive about it, guys? AC, you feeling positive about it?
Because it is a home game, and we know that St James's Park at the moment is a bit of a fortress. Teams don't really leave that stadium with something. They might leave a little bit of something, like a draw, because I think our last home game, correct me if I'm wrong, was that Man City at home that we drew there?
Yeah,
it was, wasn't it? So that was our last home game. So, and another thing to put in perspective, what time's kickoff? Remind me.
3:00 on Saturday.
3:00, right. So the Geordies, the locals, would have had a few beers. People laugh when I say this kind of things, but it does matter because generally speaking, the atmosphere in the city would just be up for it. People had their drinks, they had their lunch, they're good to go. When it's a 12:30 kickoff, people don't have no time for warm up. Like,
it's true.
You get to have one drink and then you're straight to the game. And sometimes the atmosphere can be a little bit flat. But I think the atmosphere will be quite, I think the crowd will be up for it. I think, generally speaking, I think most fans are feeling quite confident going into this game, despite that Brighton, they're not a team to like look down upon. They're still a good side. And I think we're going to go into that of like some of the things we're going to have to be aware of because, first of all, they've got a new manager. They're playing with a little bit of excitement. They like to go on the break quite a lot. They got a lot of players. They've got players that, I don't want to get into this right now, but a player on their right-hand side who should have been on our right-hand side, who's a bit of a handful now as well. It's going to be an interesting game. It really is.
Well, yeah, I agree. It should be an interesting one. But like I said, we're at home. We're generally very, very good at home. I've said it before, very few teams come and get a win at St. James's. You're looking at the Liverpools, occasionally Man City, Arsenal, but usually any other team struggle to get the win against us. I know last season was a bit of a disappointing result against Brighton. We should have beaten them, but I think we ended up drawing. Was it 1-1 or 2-2? I can't remember.
1-1, yeah.
Yeah, so which hurt us in the long run, qualifying for Europe and that. But yeah, they're a good footballing team. They are gonna, look to create a lot of chances, maybe control the game. But I think we've got enough. We should have enough. But we'll get to predictions later. But Jefferson, you confident?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I'm not feeling the most confident. Obviously, we're always strong favourites when we're at home, but and obviously, our big old pitch. But I just I feel they've got a lot of threats, and they will most certainly control the game. I think if we'd come out of that Everton game with a win, I would have been feeling a bit more cheery about coming into this game. I mean, you've touched on their threat on the right. They've also got a threat on the left. They've also got a threat in the middle. Uh, and yeah,
All angles.
I think
So
they
we,
so we
well,
indeed,
not on the right, but
but
yeah,
I feel I feel like we're not clicking, we're not firing yet. And I think with them, to be fair, they've got a decent record. They've managed to keep clean sheets in most of their games, and they've played. Okay, I'm not counting Man United, but they've played Arsenal. So I guess that's equivalent to our performance against City as well. So I don't know. It's hard to gauge. I just feel like if we win, I think it'll be a good win. But I'm kind of on the fence about it. I feel like it could be a draw.
okay. So before we talk about how we're going to approach the game, we'll talk about Brighton a bit more, because obviously they're above us on goal difference. I think, looking at the league table, obviously they've scored quite a few more goals than us, but they are quite leaky at the back. But if you look at their last few away games, AC, I know we touched it before we recorded. What would you say? Would you say it looks good, or the forms look good, or are they up and down? Like how have they been faring?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag, really, because when I look at their results where they had an away game at Chelsea, we know how good Chelsea are at the moment. And, let's face it, Stamford Bridge is going to be a tough place to go to. And if you think you're going to walk away with 3 points, but they did lose that game 3-2. So it's quite a lot of goals. And the
Was it
details
3-2?
is,
No,
was it
because Cole Palmer scored 4 goals, didn't he? Was that against Brighton?
was that the 4-2 game?
4-2, 4-2, yeah.
4-2, sorry.
Was it 4 or 5? Was it 4 or 5? I think. Did someone else score?
Oh, was it Madueke or someone? Oh,
It might have been
gosh.
5-3 or something like that. I can't remember the scores, but yeah, it was a high scoring game. I know it was definitely a high scoring game.
Yeah, a definitely high scoring game. I think, Brighton are a team that they do have a lot of good attack. And from what I saw as well, when they did play teams like Man United as well, and they beat Man United earlier this season, and I did watch that 90 minutes, and it's interesting to watch because, Brighton has always been known to be this team that have a lot of youth players. They play with a lot of energy. They're very fast going forward on the break potentially, and they almost like thrill off that. They almost like want to catch you on the break and attack you like that. And I know Jefferson was saying before this podcast, which I can't believe this is actually a thing, but apparently they play like a really weird formation, which is like, believe it or not, it's like 3-0-7. I need to look this up anyway and check it out. But it just tells you all you need to know, really, that they really try to play with that. We want to suffocate you in your own half, and they just push everyone forward. They got players in that team. If you look at that central striker as well, who's almost like living his like next legacy now within the Premier League, and that
He's
is
reborn.
Remind me again of his name. Yeah, of course, like Welbeck. So he seems to be he's having a time of his life right now. He's enjoying himself. And face it, he's a threat right now. I think that's something we have to be careful of. I think Brighton are not going to be scared to come at us, put it that way. And I think we're going to have to be, once again, I think the focus is going to be our midfield to control that. Now, we're at home. We should be controlling our midfield at home.
Yeah, you know what? I hear what you're saying, but I'm looking at, because we're the home team, I have to be positive the way we tend to play at home. But with Brighton, they do leak goals, right? And if you take it back to the first game of the season, I think there was away to Everton. I know they won handsomely, but Everton had 10 men after a while. But before that, Everton were creating a lot of opportunities. Everton should have been up 2 or 3 goals before the sending off. So Brighton will give you opportunities, right? Same with the Man United game. Obviously, had the goal again, the Garnacho's goal been allowed, I think when Xerxes kind of intercepted on the line, different story. Complete different story. Man United had opportunities as well. They had opportunities.
Man United did. Man did. They weren't putting them away at all. So yeah, I'm with you there.
And let's be honest, Spurs should have beat them. Spurs should have beat them last like 2-0 up at half time. And it was individual errors that cost Spurs, to be fair. But before that, they created more opportunities. So as much as Brighton do create opportunities, they give you a lot of opportunities as well. And I think we haven't been scoring many goals this season up to date, right? But I think it was the same last season, and we had one result, and even the season before, we had to beat Fulham away from home, and we ended up scoring. We had a big run of scoring bare goals. So last season, I can't remember what game is that it clicked. But when something does click, we tend to start scoring freely for a long period of time. So this could be the perfect opportunity to do it. Now, don't get me wrong. I expect Brighton to control the game, control possession, whatever. But similar to how we did against Wolves, I think it was last season, we'll allow them to have the ball because we are quite dangerous on the break as well. We've got the tools to hit them on the break. And with their, I say, dodgy defence, we could get some joy there. Jefferson, I don't know what I'm going to say.
No.
Yeah, I think it might be a case we cancel each other out, actually. The more I think about it, the more I think it's going to be a draw. And possibly a high-scoring one, like 2-2, 3-3, because we say that Brighton are leaky, but they have kept some clean sheets. And the thing is, if this is true, I mean, Herzl had an interview about it, playing this 3-0-7 formation.
This is crazy.
We got to be careful because, yes, we can break, but when we break in fours, fives. Their formation is set, so they've got 7 deep lining runners attacking you. So 4 defenders can't pick up 7 runners. And we know that our midfield, we know how our midfield is. I think it was literally only last week for the first time we saw Bruno stick in that defensive midfield position. So that is something that concerns me when you've got the likes of, even on the left side, you've got Mitoma and Estupinian. And then obviously you've got Minteh on the right side. So it's going to be Minteh against Hall and then Mitoma against Tino. I think Tino should play because Mitoma's got pace and trickery. I don't think Trippier. Oh, Trippier's injured. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we need an advert for a researcher here, by the way. Anyone that wants to apply, because I think we're not with it today. We definitely need a researcher.
It's the international break. We're rusty, man. We're a bit rusty. We're just a bit rusty.
So I think that fullback battle is going to be important. But yeah, it's basically a pressing team versus a counter-pressing team. So I think they're going to cancel each other out.
Okay. So you think, how do we approach the game then? You think we're going to sit back and try to hit them on a break? Obviously, you said with this 3-0-7, you know, they've got the numbers to hurt us, but also on the break, then they leave themselves exposed. If we've got 5 players breaking against their 3, you know, it could work in our favor. So is that what you think? Do you think we're just going to sit back and absorb the pressure and AC think we're going to?
Well, just one point to add. I think the key will be the midfield because from what I've seen, they've got Billy Gilmore, who's a tidy player, by the way. But they've also got Hinselwood. And Hinselwood, I believe, is meant to be a fullback, but he's been playing him in midfield. Obviously, mainly in the transition, there'll be 3-0-7. But orthodox, whilst they're in mid-play, I guess those 2 will be sitting in there. But yeah, we'll be interested to see. Sorry, go on, AC.
No, I was going to say that there's an important aspect here that we haven't really mentioned or spoken about because, you know, before international break, we had no Alexander Isak. He's injured. Wilson was injured. Now, there's been speculation that Wilson and Isak are both now going to be available from this game onwards, which is going to be interesting. And I do wonder, and also we don't want to put pressure on Wilson straight away, but I do feel like this could be a Wilson type of game. It might suit him, you know.
You know, you're right, because normally when he comes up from injury, Eddie Howe starts him.
I know.
You don't bed him in, he just throws him in, and he's quite fit. And he works. It works.
And it does work. And Wilson will just score. This is the thing about Wilson. It's just like, as much as that we can be frustrated about his injury records and, you know, saying his ankle's made of glass and whatnot, when he does play, he does deliver. And his record at the moment, he's got a ratio of scoring at least 1 goal every 2 games, which is like really good when you think about it. It's almost just like you're going to get something out of him. Even if he doesn't score, he's going to be in the play to build up for the goal as well, because he's not a selfish striker as well. He'll assist as well. He do that.
Yeah.
So I do think, you know, it will definitely make us feel a lot more confident if we see Wilson and Isak available for the team. Whether who starts, I'm not sure, but I do feel this could be suitable for Wilson, though, because you know how he likes to just hold up the ball, and you know we kind of missed that. I've realised that since the start of the season, we've just not had that, and if we're not playing a particular way to feed Isak, because you know I said before, and I think we all quite agreed, is that Isak deserves to. He needs the ball to be on the ground. Like give him the through balls, let him like try break the lines. That's the way Isak plays. When we don't play like that, he gets isolated quite easily. With Wilson, though, he's a bit different, where he can almost sometimes play with his back towards the goal, and he can like hold it up and he can play it and then make the run back in and then receive it. It's a very different kind of style he plays, but also he plays like more like a poacher in that kind of role as well, which sometimes you kind of need. You need that person just that put their head on it in the box. And
you know what? It's true. Wilson obviously brings different qualities to Isak, and you know to have both of them fit, which you know, fingers crossed. Apparently, they're both going to be fit for the game. Will be a blessing. But I actually think Isak will start the game, simply because you said about Isak thrives on that through ball, right? Brighton play a very high line, right? So this will be ideal for the likes of Tonali, the likes of Bruno to slip through that, or even Gordon, slip through that through ball to him to give him. He's got the the acres of space to run onto and to finish like that. I think this is more ideal for him because with Wilson, obviously you talk about the hold up play, the physicality. They've got Lewis Dunk, right? Who would be a good battle between the two kind of thing. But
that would be a battle, yeah.
But on the ground, Wilson will kill it. Isak will kill it for speed, like with the through ball and stuff. So I think that will be the who do you think's better at pressing from the front, Isak or Wilson? Because you see, their other centre back, I forgot Van Eck, is that his name?
Van Hecker, yeah.
He likes to play. He's a ball playing centre back, but he's also very prone to an error. Yeah, when he's pressed. So it'll be interesting to see who Eddie Howe goes with in terms of that respect, because the pressing I think is going to be very important in this game as well. But other than the strikers, Jefferson, who do you think is our key player for the game? Who do you think is our main man?
Yeah, I think it depends how we aim to play, because there are sometimes we do go long ball. Sometimes we look for the switch from Fabian Schär. So I think initiating from the back.
I was waiting for that.
sorry.
Now that might be the one, because if Brighton do push high, and we've got runners, then having that defender playing into the channel could be useful. So I would say Fabian Schär is a key one. But obviously, again, it's just Bruno, isn't it? In terms of knowing the times to stick, knowing the times to press, making sure that the middle three are doing their duties as well, and he's leading that line as captain. But I normally expect a big performance from Bruno and joelinton when we're at home. I know Tonali played 90 minutes for Italy, but I still feel like he's finding his rhythm. As we saw with Everton, he was a bit off it. So I'm not going to be like, oogling at him, kind of expecting 10 out of 10 performance. I'm looking at the consistent players that we're always looking at, which is Bruno and joelinton, I think. But yeah, also I think Fabian Schär. So I think basically those central areas is going to be key to making a breakthrough and hopefully a win in this game. You guys mentioned Isak as well, so it's going to be through that central line basically.
Okay, and given the importance of the press, right? Do you think? I mean, he ain't gonna play, but do you think this could be a game for Mickey?
Maybe he did well when he came on. I thought AC, don't you think?
Yeah, and I do wonder. Like, there was definitely this thing of like Miggy being dropped from the squad, and he just wasn't getting any game time at all. And I do believe in a situation now that, face it, he's here for the rest of the season, and it's just like just utilize the squad. He gives you something a bit different, and we know that Murphy on the right, he's going to be the guy who's going to play very traditional right winger, get the ball, get the byline, cross it, very like traditional, almost like textbook in that way. Sometimes though, Miggy just has that. Obviously, he wants to cut in. He's going to shoot, and I'm not going to get into the details of his shooting here, but it's just an extra little bit of threat that can make defenders just panic a little bit. So I would welcome it, to be honest. But what I will say is, obviously, there's a big thing as well of like does Gordon and Barnes start? Who starts on left? And hurting my head, man. But once again, though, I just think you got to pick one or the other to start. But I think Gordon will probably start, and you probably should start probably Miggy on the right. And I think that will balance things up a bit. And then you've got the ammo in your back pocket, the secret ace of Barnes to come on second half.
Okay. And obviously, speaking of the right-hand side, we have to address the elephant in the room. We've mentioned it before. The player for Brighton that's more like to start on their right-hand side, who said you should have been starting for us, Minteh, right? Now, he's had a very good start to the season with Brighton. I think he scored against Spurs, didn't he, in the last game? He scored against Spurs with a tidy finish.
Yeah.
Now, there was an article that came out, I think it was yesterday, and the guy from StatsBomb, who used to work for StatsBomb, he was talking about Newcastle approach to using AI and data for their transfers and stuff. And the question of Minteh came up. I think I still got it on my phone. Yeah, I think I've got.
Bring it up. Bring it up.
Let me see if I've got it.
Read it out. Read it out.
So let me see if it loads up now. So he said, I'm in disbelief that they let him go. If they're looking for a right winger, they had the right person. They literally had him. It's the biggest fumble they could make. It literally might have been better to be docked points than to lose him. Yeah. Now, and then he said, so go on. But said, I was shocked by how much I love this kid because of his control inside the box. You were watching Musiala at the Euros at that time, who had that element of being impossible to touch in the box because you don't know which way that he will go. He can finish quite well, and he has the fact he's left-footed makes him valuable by himself. I fully expected them to keep him and use him in the last 25 minutes of games to really stretch and change the game, especially against tougher teams. Well, yeah, for all those people that said, it don't matter, we've never seen him play, we don't know what he's going to do, blah, 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 whatever. Well, that's an expert talking about him.
You need to shut up, man.
Right?
Jeez.
Yeah, admit, we messed up. Now, the question, before we go anymore, but would you... Two questions. All right, the first one, do you think we could have taken the points deduction? And second of all, I think we all agree we should have kept him, right? Would you have been opposed of keeping him and selling Anthony Gordon? Because we already had Harvey Barnes already. So would that have made more sense? Right?
Wow.
So, Jefferson, what do you reckon?
Before we start this, anyone that's jumping in late, or just as a refresher, jump back to episode 3 because we discussed a little bit of this in episode 3. So going back to go forwards. Okay, so to answer your question, obviously hindsight's a beautiful thing, isn't it? We've seen that Gordon's been off the boil. He's clearly not the same player he was last season. If Liverpool had given us that reported 75 mil, hell yes. Yeah, and I like Gordon. But to have Barnes firing as he is now, fully fit, and then man like Minteh on the other side, we would have been cooking.
Oh, it's tricky. It's tricky because we have to look at it as well that Gordon was our best player of last season. I know Isak is on the echelons on there as well, and I know he had a good tally, right? But just speaking, like Gordon had such a great season. And he was one of our key players. And there were some games where he just won games for us. And we have to admit that. We have to admit that.
Man United, Arsenal.
Yeah, you know. So also, if we did cash in on 75, now let's break it down because it's a lot of money. And I do think if we did cash in, we probably didn't have to sell Anderson either. Wow. So, that one player would have made put the bandages on for all of this, financial fair play stuff, we would have been fine. So if we look at it like we kept Anderson, because I know most fans don't want to hear it as well, but Anderson is cooking at Forest right now, right? He's looking all right.
For the under 21 yesterday, I think it was.
He's looking all right. He's a good player. I've always said that Anderson's a great player, and I think he would just naturally nurture himself and build up. But man, it's quite difficult to say in hindsight now because let's face it, Barnes is cooking. So if Barnes was cooking on the left, Minteh on the right, who knows, man? Like our team will be looking quite different right now. You would never have this argument about who's starting on left, who's starting on right. It just tells it for itself. So
I take it back to the episode when I said Curtis, don't rate Gordon. He said you're gonna see that he can't finish, yeah. And Barnes is the better left winger than him, left
I
side
never
forward
forget
than
you
him.
told me that because you were saying that. I think Curtis was saying that when Barnes was like missing. Remember
Yeah.
last season, Barnes was missing. Barnes was
Yeah.
not even. We looked at that. He was a player who came in, got his, got a little test play, and then just like bench for the. He wasn't even on bench. He was just not being seen.
So what the thing is, when I tell Curtis about last season, he says he just had an extended Miggy purple patch. Yeah, he said, "Watch."
What?
Yeah, he said,
What?
"Watch." Yeah, he don't rate him like that. But what I will say is though, had we said hindsight's a beautiful thing, right? But had we sold Gordon and kept Minteh, do you think there would have been uproar from the fans saying, "Well, we're choosing an unproven right winger and we're selling one of our best players"? So it's a case of like, damned if you do, damned if you don't, kind of thing. So
Do you not think that would have set a chain of events in terms of if the fans are upset with the board, because we would have been financially secure, maybe the board would have then responded by being more proactive in the market because emotionally they would have wanted to please the fans. And I also think as well, in terms of the financial situation, it may not have pushed Amanda out as well. Like I think so much could have changed. Personally, I think so much could have changed. But what I would say about Yankuba Minteh is people that are saying, "Oh, he never put on a Newcastle shirt," blah blah blah. Listen, the season before, I think, where final reached the Conference League final, was a big achievement, and he played some games in that campaign. He then comes back, so he's then playing Champions League football as well. We weren't playing we were playing Champions League football as well, right? And then they win the Dutch Cup, and yeah, Feyenoord was sad that he was coming back to us. So he's shown his quality at different levels of football. It's not just the Eredivisie; he's done it at a continental level as well. But I don't know if he was an Ashworth signing or not, and I don't know if he would have stayed, whether Eddie would have played him. We've seen the Asula treatment right now, the treatment Asula's getting. So
wow,
there's so
Madness.
many different
Madness.
variables to how what could have played out. Do you know what I mean? We could have kept him, and Eddie's like, no, I'm not playing him. I prefer Jacob Murphy. Like,
I do think Minteh is an Ashworth sign-in because I feel like it's a trend here. I think Minteh is. I think Tonali is. Just little gem players that have got opportunity and they try to bring them in. Yeah, I know it's a split camp. Some fans will just be like, never put on a shirt, so actually can't really miss him, kind of thing. But
is he coming? Is he coming with a point to prove? Kind of that battery in his back.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he will. But the thing is, though, like all fans have to recognize and realize this, though, is that just look at our right wing at the moment. It's Almiron and Murphy, who are the same players who were still there pre-takeover. Like, it's not good. It's not good. And now think about it. By next summer, we're going to be nearly here 4 years since the takeover. 4 years, and we upgraded our right wing. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to count Barnes in that either. I'm not counting Barnes in that.
No.
Barnes is a left wing player. Gordon is a left wing player. So I think the board totally messed up with selling Minteh. You sold basically our jewel in the crown to finish the masterpiece of selection for the starting 11. You sold him off because it was panicking. We also know now, I don't want to go too much of a rant, but we also know now that like these goalkeepers that we brought, the Ruddy, the Oddie, that was all because we're desperate and we're trying to help out. Like we don't want Oddie. Like this guy can't even get in the team now. Right? It's just ridiculous, man. And I just feel like we were panicking so much.
What, that's the same Oddie that beat England the other day?
The same Oddie that beat England. Yeah.
Man like Oddie.
The same Oddie. But yeah, the classic tagline, hindsight is a wonderful thing. So we can look back at it now and be like, you know what? Maybe you should have just sold Gordon and we would have been. But I do know at the same time though, if they sold Gordon, NUFC Twitter would have erupted, man. It would have, people would have turned up at St. James's Park, man. They would have been like torches in hand.
Like when we sold Andy Cole, yeah? Who, by the way, was his birthday yesterday. Big up Andy Cole.
Hey, big
salute,
up.
Man. Salute.
The reason why I support this beautiful club. But
King
Cole, mate.
King Cole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would make fans feel sick if he sold Gordon though. Like I have to admit, if they sold him, I would have lost my shit too, to be honest, because I probably would have. I don't know. It's a tricky one.
Take the points deduction. I was always off the stance. I was always off the stance. We should have taken it.
No, we couldn't do that though because
I think fans were shook.
That the Premier League, right? The Premier League, they hate us. Let's put it out there, right? The Premier League absolutely hate us, right? They hate our owners, right? They have an agenda against Saudi. They almost like want us to be in a situation like, oh, you didn't make it. Oh, you got point deduction. They will rub their hands together and been like, right, we're slapping on 12. Would have been like, what?
Get Nick DeMarco.
It would have went court. It would have went court and all that. But he
won a case for City, didn't he? And he won the case for us.
We can't afford them no more, bro.
But I think it would have, listen, it would be unlawful because at the end of the day, Everton had repeated offences. They only got 10 points. If we only done it once and it would have given us 10 points, that's already taken the piss. So anything above that would have been really personal. But as you've seen anyway, they reduce it because I think, what was it? Everton's was from 10 to 6. Forest was from 6 to 4. And then I think, who is it? That Leicester had, was it wiped 6 out. Or 9 points? Wiped out. So I think eventually it would have been from 10 down to 6. I will take 6 points to keep Minteh. I will take it. I'm sorry, man. That's a minor, bro.
You say that the Premier League are bastards, and they would have dropped that 10 points on your head in February.
They do hate us, but
they hate us, man. I don't think you understand. They hate us. They hate us, and they hate Man City. Also, big shout out to Man City as well for that little win. The
Oil brothers. Jeez.
Oil brothers.
Before we go to lineup, this is a random one, yeah. We mentioned Andy Cole, right? I'll give you some names, right? I want you to pick the top 3, your favorite 3, right? Andy Cole, Les Ferdinand, Cisse, Bar, Loic Remy. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, say that list again. So we got Ashley Cole, Ferdinand.
Andy Cole, bro. Andy Cole.
Sorry.
In terms of ability or who we like the most?
Who you like? Yeah.
Who
Okay.
you like?
Andy Cole, Les Ferdinand, Cisse, Bar, Loic Remy.
So Les for me, man. Obviously, I love them.
And Callum Wilson.
Oh, come on. Oh,
and
no.
And Wilson.
Oh, you had to say that.
I can tell you mine. Mine, Andy Cole, Les Ferdinand, and Isak. Those are my 3.
Wow.
You put Isak in there as well.
Wow.
Was Isak on the list?
Sorry, well, I'm adding Isak. Yeah, because he was an originalist. Yeah, Isak. Yeah, I'm putting Isak in there as well.
Man. It's a tough one. Obviously, I feel like a default answer will have to say Andy Cole. It's like a default answer.
Right.
It feels like you had to go that route, but if I had to take him off the list, so I'm cheating here. I'm removing off the list like I don't exist. Right. Cisse was special, man. Cisse was special. Bar was special.
Demba Bar was the one for me.
Demba Bar was my guy. Like he was special.
Every chance.
He was special. And I think it definitely goes to these players. It's also because I know I've seen these guys kick ball live as well. So I've gone to games and seen them kick ball. So I've seen Cisse kick ball. I've seen Demba Bar kick ball. So I remember that time St. James's as well, because not too far from the corner, Cisse jumped into the crowd. I was there, man. So I remember, I feel the energy of I feel like I can't push Cisse aside. Loic Remy, Oh,
I think the only one I've not seen play live is Andy Cole. I think that's the only
yeah,
one.
I haven't seen. I don't
Well,
see
for
Andy Cole.
Newcastle. I've seen him playing for Man United, but not for Newcastle. Yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
seen Andy Cole play for Newcastle. Obviously, that was a long time ago, and I was too young. So, but Remy, yeah, I did see actually. I'm yet to see. I haven't seen. Yeah, I haven't seen Isak actually.
Is it?
No,
I've seen him briefly, bro, because both times I've seen I saw him
I
in the
haven't seen
Champions League.
Isak. I've seen Bruno play. I've seen majority of those people in that squad at the moment, but I haven't seen Isak actually. Wow.
Maybe why he's not in the top 3 then.
Yay. But to be honest, like I think for Isak at the moment is he started this season quite slow, so I'm giving him a little bit of time because, like, he's even said it himself out loud that last season was his best season of his career. He said that hands down because he had so much goals under his belt, and also it's just the way he scores those goals as well. So, and I think he still needs time to like gel into this season. We're still going to see, no doubt, he's gonna entertain us this season at some point. So I'm looking forward to that.
So who's your
Respect to
free
Callum as well. Respect to Callum because
100%.
scoring the goals in that Steve Bruce team. Number one, without him, we would have got relegated. I think, was it his first season? He only played 26 games, but he had like 12 goals, and some of them were match-winning goals. It's like without him, we would have been.
He was that guy. Even the days of like the COVID days, it was mad. It was mad. He definitely was that like the one player. It was like him and Saint Maximin were like our hope. That was it.
Yeah, that's it. Once we had them two on the pitch, if not, then we were finished, bro.
Like Saint Maximin was our hope. I was looking at him like, you are our best player, man, skillfully. So please deliver.
So who's your free, Jefferson?
Boy, I didn't know we're extending it to 3, but
is it 3 now?
I think,
the
list is growing.
He's changing the rules. He's changing the rules.
No, but the one's Andy Cole, innit? The one's Andy Cole, right?
With me?
No, mine is Sir Les number 1.
Okay.
Yeah, because obviously you lot were 93, 94. I was 95, 96.
Okay.
So even before Shearer came, Les.
Yeah, he's my number 2.
Les.
And even what Les did for QPR, you ask any QPR fans, he's still their guy. Him and Trevor Sinclair were pulling up trees, but and then obviously when he came to us, like he was a big part of us being in that title race.
Bad boy.
And I remember I used to have a little high top like him as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When I was like 10. I proper love Sir Les, man, and obviously I've met him. I've met him twice in real life.
The black man Tintin Quiff. That's what man would call it. Black man Tintin Quiff.
That's the one, bro. I think
so
Wesley Snipes used to bust that, and who else is in the top of my head? It's gone. Anyway, so go on, bro.
So if he's the number 1, is Cole number 2, or you just not because you didn't see that it was before your time? So
yeah. I mean, I did see Cole, but by the time, like he'd gone, and I think there's something there about him just being more Man United than anything.
Yeah.
I know that he had
Man United claim him, don't they? Really, they claim him.
Particularly him and Beardsley up top, but yeah, I just don't affiliate with him as much. But obviously, number 2 for me, Demba Ba. It felt like every time I watched Demba Ba, he was going to score a goal. Yeah. And I think, as amazing as Cisse was, no one expected him to kind of hit the ground running. I think it was 13 goals in 13 games.
Madness.
That was because Demba Ba played wide left.
I know.
And Ba didn't score at all.
It was
Ba did not score at all, bro. It's all
when you look at it, it's just like, how was he playing on the left, man? Like
that was Pardew, innit? He was
attack,
innit? Yeah.
The best brace in Premier League history. I don't care, bro. Against Chelsea, best brace.
Wow.
Replay that.
The one that done it for me, where Didier Drogba, he looked at a Newcastle player, or he looked at the bench. He went,
yeah.
That's it's a bad boy goal, innit? Yeah, I mean, and number 3, it's a tough.
Never forget that game, man. That was a highlight. I was watching it with a Man U fan at that time as well. Boy,
I phoned my in-laws on the way because they went to the game with the Chelsea fans. I phoned them on the way back. I said, "You enjoy the game, did ya?"
I thought we were going to do it. We were really close to Champions League that year. I really thought we were going to do it, man.
We deserved it, man.
Yeah.
That's why
but
that Pardew era is special to me, man. I love that Pardew era. It has a bittersweet ending, obviously, but man, that was some. Pardew was he was rowdy as hell as well. He's headbutting man and everything.
Headbutting, man.
Anyway.
He's a madman. But yeah, so you're number 3, sorry, before we get back to the Leicester game.
3, yeah. I'm split between Cisse and Callum Wilson.
Okay.
I'm gonna go for Callum Wilson, to be honest. Yeah, I know Cisse on that Europa League run as well. He had a couple of good nights there, but I feel he's more renowned for that run, isn't it? Of when he first arrived, and then the goals, they dried up here and there. Yeah, for me, Callum Wilson, man, I just think when times were dark, he kept us somewhat relevant in that mid-table, boy. Without him,
I love playing away,
and you just gotta thank him for that.
Soft to him. All right. Well, nice little subsection in the podcast. Might throw another one in the next few that we do.
Kept me on my toes, man.
Put it in the chat, guys. Let us know what you think. Give us your top 3 strikers.
The top 3, yeah. There was a theme there, by the way. Yeah, if you didn't notice, yeah, with the strikers that I picked. But anyway, it is what it is. So let's get back to the game now. Game ahead. Predicted lineups, right? Yeah, that's it. Right, the sidebar. So predicted lineups. Do we think we go with? Well, no, we can't go with the same team because we expect Wilson and Isak to be back, right? So back 4 picks itself, right? So we've got Tino, Cher, Burn, and Hall. Obviously, Nick Pope in goal.
Yeah.
Same midfield 3. Obviously, Bruno's just coming back from international football today. But expect to say he's a key player. So Bruno, joelinton, and Tonali. I see no reason to change that at this present time. Both agree?
Yeah, I hope so.
And I think it's the front 3 that we're going to be a bit more unsure about because let's say that Isak and Wilson are back, right? So who starts on the left hand side? Is it Gordon or is it Barnes?
It should be Barnes, but it will be Gordon.
Agreed. Yeah. I think there's something with Barnes coming off the bench that gives him that extra boost. Like
it does. It does.
So far, he's been better off the bench than he has been when he started. So I think
know, and it's quite unfair because when he did start against City, it's an unfair game to really analyze him and be like,
yeah, true.
But he didn't perform but I'm like, he did perform because if you were tracking what he was doing, he was playing well. He was still, he never was out of position. He was doing well. It's just that chances were few, and when the chances did come, he didn't execute.
Yeah.
But still don't know why we don't use him as a striker. He's the second best finisher we've got, very evidently. Well, after obviously Wilson's not fit.
Well, not what
you know what I mean.
Yeah. All right. So you said, like I said, it should be Barnes, arguably, but it's got to be Gordon. So does Barnes play on the right, or does he play Murphy on the right?
What do you think, Casey?
I'm gonna go wild card. I think Miggy might start.
Not a chance, bro.
You want Miggy to start? Admit it. You want Miggy to start.
Put him in, man. Put him in.
That cheeky smile, didn't you?
Put him in, man.
Big wide eyes.
True say he's still playing on international as well. He's been playing with Paraguay as well. So let the man run out.
Or did he play this time? I know they were vilifying him last time.
I don't know if he definitely did actually, but I know he's obviously part of that squad. So
yeah.
I assume he would be because let's face it, I don't really know too many players on the Paraguay side who are obviously name brands, and I think Miggy's obviously one of them, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, so up top, Isak or Wilson? If they, assuming that they're both back,
it's a coin flip, isn't it?
I'm gonna say Isak, more match fit, and I think
That's the key thing, actually. Wilson's not going to be match fit at all.
Yeah, I need to have our number one striker as well. So I think we haven't got a game in midweek yet. So I think he'll go with that. He'll probably start Wilson in the league game, the cup game against Chelsea. But I think he might tread a bit more carefully Wilson than he has done before because of the number of injuries he's had even before he touched this. He got injured in pre-season and all that stuff, had a setback. So I think they might be trying to manage him a little bit better with this performance director as well. But you never know. So I'm gonna say Isak.
He's made of poppadoms, man. Poppadoms. I heard someone say that before. I can't remember who said it, but
probably half the fan base. But anyway, so what, Jefferson? You reckon Isak or Wilson?
Yeah, I mean it's got to be Isak, isn't it? I hope we don't do this false nine business because it didn't work against Everton.
Nah, you can't do that nonsense again, bro. You can't.
Not at home.
If you do that, you're losing the game.
And if you're gonna do that, play Barnes in the middle because Gordon's finishing ain't the best. But yeah, I'm hoping it'll be Isak.
You keep saying Gordon's finishing is not the best, brother. I need to give you the real of last season. You got short-term memory loss, man. Because last season, my man was putting them away. He was putting them away.
13 goals in all comps, I believe, and I think it was 12 assists.
Don't make me play you back that goal he scored against City at home.
And about 11 of them was at home, innit?
But he did miss a few chances.
Those are goals, man.
I feel like with Barnes, you feel like he's gonna score.
Barnes is a better finisher. He's a better finisher. He is.
You kind of, whether it's long range, short range, Gordon at the moment, he's taking an extra touch or he's refusing to shoot, he's cutting back. So there's clearly something there about his confidence, isn't it? So yeah, I hope Isak starts. I hope Barnes starts, but he won't. And it will probably be Murphy. It will probably be Murphy on the basis that he may want the winger to tuck in when we don't have the ball.
True. All right. So sticking with you, Jefferson, prediction. What are you saying?
2-2. Desmond.
Okay. AC?
I'm going to go with very positive result. I'm going to say 3-1 to Newcastle.
I knew you were going to say that. I want to say the same thing.
I'm going to say 3-1. I think Brighton will score, but I think we'll have a lot more in our cage for them. I think the home crowd, man. And, once we start scoring at St. James's, it's. I think I heard like a while back. I think it was last season. Maddison was given like an interview about Tottenham. He's like, if you go 2 goals down at St. James's Park, it's very hard. Like it's very hard to focus and try to get back into the game. But the crowd is deafening. Like obviously you guys won't know it's like when you go to the stadium, and it's. St. James's Park is a different beast, man, and I do feel like it also depends when we score, if Brighton score first and we come back, etc. But yeah, I think we got enough to beat them, and I want to see Isak on the score sheet. I want to see that as well, and I wouldn't mind a Tonali. I'm wishing for too much here. I'm wishing for too much.
You're saying I'm going to say 3-1, and we say it every week, but I think this is Tonali's time, bro. I think Tonali's going to shine. He's going to shine, bro. Whether it's a goal or assist, I think he's going to do his thing. But yeah, like I said, I'd like to see Isak.
D-Man is predicting that every week until it happens.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day, bro. So I'm going to say, look, Isak, Tonali, and Wilson to score. Yeah, we're gonna win 3-1. We're gonna win 3-1. But you mentioned the atmosphere at the game and going to the game. So shout out to my plug, Chris, who got me a ticket to one of the upcoming Newcastle games. Much appreciated. So I'll be there soon.
Is that Arsenal, Chris?
Arsenal Chris, mate.
Arsenal Chris. Yeah. What up? Big up Arsenal Chris.
Big up.
Yeah, so.
He knows who he is. He
always shows us love as well online.
Yeah, man. And he's hooked me up a couple times. He hooked me up a couple times with the tickets and that. So yeah, man. Appreciate it. But before we sign off, obviously, you mentioned at the beginning of the pod, AC. There's been a change of the guard in terms of the England managerial post. It's gone to one Thomas Tuchel. Some maybe disappointed that he didn't come to us. We didn't hold out for our job. But
He would have been good
listen,
for us.
Eddie's no longer in the current running. It's been given to Tuchel.
He's here
There's been a
today.
lot of debate about it, whether it should have gone to an Englishman and why has it gone to a German, all this bollocks. But I personally think it's a good appointment. I've actually got more interest in the English national team now. Now that he's there, see what he does. I call him a cup manager. Tommy Tucks, he's a cup manager. So I'm interested to see what he does. Man. And all this, I don't understand this picking patriotic what do you call it? Patriotism above quality. Because I don't see an English manager, a current one, better than Thomas Tuchel, bruv. So what's the problem? Get over it.
And the thing is, the best available, right, he's not been available, but the best candidate, if you were to go for British, is Eddie Howe.
Right, and he's not better than Thomas Tuchel.
He is the only one. I can't see
I rate Potter over him, but I think Potter's approach takes too long. They need someone to just come in and
I think Potter being away from the game right now, my man's gonna be too rusty. I wouldn't. If the FA had him on the list, how dare they? It's too rusty, man. You can't bring him in. So, right, Eddie Howe is the best British manager. If you want to approach, if you really want a British, he would be the best.
Tricky's pissed. Did he get approached? Tricky's pissed.
No, I reckon he did get approached. It's just undercover. They're not going to say it. Apparently, they had 10. They had 10 candidates, and I reckon Eddie Howe was definitely one of them.
So he was. What you're saying is that he's happy to be at the Toon, and he's happy to work with Mitchell, and he's there for the long run.
I think Eddie Howe, like on a serious note, I think he really does want to win something here at Newcastle. I think he's looking at it like my job is not done until I win something. Which is a fair play. Which to be honest,
it's going to be unfinished forever, bro.
If he doesn't adapt his style, nothing's changed.
Listen.
Let's get us back into Europe, innit? Please, let's get us back into Europe.
There is definitely trajectory on the horizon. I think the Mitchell thing is definitely going to kick into play. We're going to start seeing a bit of different how we approach our transfer windows, put it that way. But just to go back onto Tuchel, I think it's a really good appointment. I think FA have really showed their hand there in terms of like the intent of like we are being serious here. We're bringing a quality manager in. I think people don't really understand that like this manager has a lot. He's got a lot of good, this is a talented manager, but tactically very intelligent manager. Like,
do you know the funny thing is, the fact all this uproar about him, right? But when it was rumored that they're going to go after Pep, there was none of this, none of this. Oh, we need an English manager.
This is the thing.
Get Pep at all costs.
We know why. It's because he's German. There's that history. He's a Jerry. He's a Jerry, ain't he? He's a Jerry. You know what I mean? He's a bomber.
Yeah.
He's a bomber.
There's this borderline. There's this, I'll say right up now, this whole patriotism and that and being patriotic it's a very borderline of racism because people just don't want to see a German manager lead a British team. But I tell you, let me tell you something though. Let me tell you something, right? People forget that the women's football team, the Lionesses, they've already won a cup right now, right? And guess what? The manager is Dutch. She's Dutch. I didn't hear no one saying nothing about that. No one's uproar about that, but they all supported her. Oh, well done. You won it with the Lionesses, blah, blah, blah. And people are just not counting that. And I feel like sometimes people don't take women's football seriously. That's another thing I want to get into another time. But, so I kind of look at this is that going forward is that, and this is going to shut a lot of people up because also today I saw a lot of pundits coming from Sky Sports. I'm not going to name names. You may know who they are. The regular
Gary
people. Neville, the Carragers, right? Even my guy, I've forgotten his name. Redknapp. They're all like, I'm just like, you guys, man, you're obviously paid on the bill here for Sky Sports to say your nonsense, right? But I'm telling you now, when my man brings a cup home, these guys are going to be quick to be like, oh, this is so well deserved. It's just nonsense, man. And I'm quite fed up of it, really. And I really do back Tuchel on this. And I feel like the hate that he's receiving off this as well, he's going to thrive off it because he's that kind of manager who'll be like, yeah, I'm going to prove you wrong.
The thing about Tuchel is if we look back very quickly, when England got knocked out of the World Cup, that was the time for Gareth to go. but apparently it was the players that said, please keep him. That should never be happening, because it's not a fan club. It's not like, oh yeah, he's my best mate, he's my uncle. He wasn't good enough at the time he had to go. And people will say, okay, Gareth got us to a final. Yeah, but he got us to a final. We were never going to win it. We were very lucky to get there. We played some of the worst football I've ever seen, despite having some of the best group of players we've ever had. Again, if you're late in on this, catch all our England coverage in our early
Euros.
first 10 episodes.
Yep.
And
Bolden and Palmer debates.
and Budweiser adverts too.
Still going as well.
Still great, because they start to turn on Palmer as well. But anyway,
but when you look at
Foden's missing there, man.
Tuchel, right? If you look at Tuchel, he's a cup manager. I think he's got one of the highest percentages. I think he's in the top 3 in terms of elite managers in terms of cup wins. So he is a cup manager, and I think the other reason he's in is he doesn't. So remember, I said my analysis of Gareth sort of dropping the ball in the last tournament was how he handled the big names, not dropping big names, playing big names in the wrong positions. Tuchel tends to fall out with big names at every club he's been at. So he will not be taking any shit, and he will do things his way. And incidentally, his contract is only 18 months. So he's in it just for the World Cup. And if you watch Ornstein's reveal yesterday, it says clearly England still hold interest for Pep. So this Tuchel thing might not even be a long-term situation. It's literally, like D-Man said, a state of intent that they want to win the World Cup. They've got a cup manager in to win that World Cup with this group of players.
And he can get back to club management once he's finished, because he's not done at club management. So, you know what I mean? I think it's a win-win for both. But yeah, listen, I think that's a good place to leave it.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see this guy, right? He's going to play 3 defenders at the back, right? You're going to see some
3-4-3.
You're going to see some sexy football for England. People are going to be like, what is this?
I thought
he also plays, is it 3-4-2-1? So shout out to Football Manager peeps for the Christmas tree formation and all that business.
AC, I thought you was going to say you're looking forward to the Newcastle game, bro. Like, get England not to, bro.
I told you they went 3-1 anyway.
Listen, we'll leave it there. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. You can catch us on the audio on the Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We'll probably be back to review this Brighton game, hopefully on the back of 3 points. But yeah, until then, we're out. Peace.
Next time.